Hello everyone, Kent Bresler here. I want to welcome you to Kent's Kidney Stories. During our time together over these podcasts, I'd like to discuss kidney disease. I'd like to tell you about my journey as a transplant patient, but also talk about dialysis, kidney donation, and just about anything else that might be of interest. Kent's Kidney Stories, a podcast endorsed and sponsored by kidneysolutions.org. Hello, everyone. This is Kent Bresler, coming to you to podcast from Kerrville, Texas. Before we get started with our guest today, I'd like to say a prayer. Lord, our bodies are a precious gift, but we sometimes experience pain and illness. We pray for your divine healing touch to restore us to full health. Please strengthen our bodies, minds, and spirit as we recover. And thank you for the medical professionals and caregivers who support us. With your guidance and your expertise, we trust that our faith will complete our healing process. We ask all of this in your holy name. Amen. All right, today I have the distinct honor of welcoming Jamie Stroup into the podcast room. Jamie had a heart and double lung transplant in June of 95 at the age of 16. Then in October of 22, she was diagnosed with allograft valescopy, inflammation and rejection, and she received 2 cardiac stents. She went back on the heart transplant list, and in September of 23, and in October of 23, which was a year later, she received a second heart transplant. This, to me, is extraordinarily rare, and it's a blessing to have this young lady in with us this morning. Jamie, how are you?
Good.
I was going to ask you straight up, how difficult was it to undergo that second heart transplant? It was tough enough for the first two, but how difficult was it?
Well, it was a shock actually when I found out I needed a second one. But I guess I just I knew I needed one, so I was, take it in stride, I guess.
Yeah, well, you gotta do what you gotta do, the old saying goes. But this is it's really a miracle if you think about it. I've been thinking about it before I came on the broadcast, and to me, 2 heart transplants.
Yeah.
I get kidneys, second kidney, third kidney, but 2 hearts.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Where are you from? What state? What part of the country are you from?
I'm in Pennsylvania. Titusville, Pennsylvania.
Uh-huh. Okay.
So I had both transplants I had in UPMC, the University of Pittsburgh.
Yes.
The first one I had in Children's Hospital, and the second one I actually had in Presbyterian, but they're both UPMC. Okay,
so you had really, the initial start was a heart and a double lung transplant.
Right, yeah.
That was all in one. That was a surgery. How long did that take?
That took about 14 hours.
Wow. And you were 16 years old.
I was 16, yeah.
Tough little gal at that point in time, I'll bet.
Yeah.
What caused your heart difficulties in your lungs? What caused that for them to fail to where you had to have a transplant?
I was born with a congenital heart defect, and I had 3 previous heart surgeries prior to the transplant. And so I had went into congestive heart failure
Sure.
at, just building up to that. I was in congestive heart failure. And so I went in for a heart catheterization and they realized how bad it was. And I didn't leave the hospital. They said they put me on a list that night and said that you need heart and preferably lungs too, because when we're in the operating room, the pressures in your lungs are so high, they may or may not go down. So that would be a risk they'd have to take, when you're on the operating table.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they really needed the lungs too, but I guess they would risk the heart if they couldn't get the lungs.
Well, here's where my heart really gets to pumping, and my emotions start to get to me. To be 16 years old and face this and this, those procedures or surgeries that you had on your heart prior to that didn't really make a big difference. I don't know if they were valves or what it was, all that they did, or if there was a structural defect and they corrected it. But that's of never mind. It's just the idea that a 16-year-old would go through this. Do you have any clue at that point in time? Did you even think about what the donor was from, or how old they were, or what was your feeling about the donor? Did you even think about it at that age?
At that age, I didn't really know. It was just because that was another thing. I was kind of in shock that I even needed a transplant. I mean, I knew I was sick, but I just thought they were going to go in and like fix it again. I guess I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, right. And that's what's got me really freaked out, because at 16 you're not thinking about a whole lot of stuff like, oh, my heart's done, my it's failed and I need a transplant.
Yeah.
I mean, that's beyond what anyone would be able to think of at that age. It's amazing.
Yeah, I guess I was and when you're 16 you don't really think that you're gonna die. Like when I have a twin sister.
Oh, you do?
And
okay.
I said, yeah, I have a twin sister and she's perfectly healthy. And I said to her, well, she said to me, well, people our age don't die. And I'm like, okay. So I just kind of that took to me. I was like, oh, okay. So, I don't know.
Well, that gave you, I think probably she kind of gave you a rub, kind of get you going, right?
Yeah.
That's cool.
We found out later after the transplant that my donor was actually only 18. So.
Oh, not that much difference in age? Not at all. So the size was right?
Yeah, not at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The size was right. Was there a lot of pain with this? Not with the procedure, pain afterward, pain, breathing and moving, and what kind of feelings were you going through there physically?
After the first transplant, I remember having a lot of back pain.
Okay.
I had a lot of back pain but I don't. Yeah, the first transplant is kind of a blur now. It's because it's been so long ago. I don't, but I do remember having that back pain. But
well, if you if you don't mind, maybe we can reference your age now without doing any math. So you're doing this at 16.
Okay.
And how old are you right now?
I'm 45 now.
45. Okay, so that is a significant time. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm just shocked. I just can't imagine how anyone could undergo that, do so well, for a long time. So the first transplant lasted how long? The first heart, the
Um,
whole thing, 16 to what?
yeah, so it was 28 years.
28 years. Okay, before we go on
Yeah,
any farther, are you a member of the Quarter Century Club?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
good.
That was one
That's
of my
great.
goals. I thought every year I was like, I'm getting closer to the quarter century club, and you know, that
Yeah,
was the
really.
goal.
Now you
Yeah,
shoot for 50.
right. Yeah.
Okay, are you, were you working this whole time? Did you actually did you have a career? What kind of things were you doing?
Um, I well, I work like part time at a hot rod shop
Oh, okay.
where they restore hot rods. Like, but I'm
Yeah.
like the I don't know what you want to call me, a secretary. Like I do the bills and I take photos too, so I do like their advertising and stuff. Because he also owns a bar slash nightclub. It's
Ah,
kind of intertwined with that because we have car cruises there, so
yeah.
it's a cool place.
Well, you enjoy it though, right? I mean, you have a good time with it. So that's a
Oh yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
How, how is your strength and stamina through the years? How has that been? What have you done to maintain your strength and stamina?
Well, in between the two transplants, I exercised. Like I went to the Y and also like a physical therapy place is where I started out. I went there like every day. And like then when COVID hit, I got a treadmill and I would do that. So I would at least walk or jog a mile like every day.
Wow.
And then um but I would say probably the last year before my whatever you want to call it, chronic rejection or whatever it was,
Yeah, I was going to
hit, that's
discuss
kind of
that.
like when I
Yeah,
slowed down a little bit. So it's kind of like maybe I slacked off a little bit, but
that's
um
okay.
yeah, before that I was pretty um continuous with that.
Sure. Yeah, you were up to speed
I
on
did
it.
it almost every day. Yeah.
Well, let's track back there to what caused this second episode. The
Okay.
diagnosis was cardiac allograft, meaning cardiac transplant. They call the allograft that's the transplant
Yeah.
vasculopathy. Okay,
Yeah.
so and that required you had some blockage in your art in your cardiac vessels, and
Yeah.
they had to stent those to open them up. Correct?
Right. So it was in like the main arteries that go
Yeah,
up through there. That was like the main ones. So they stented those two. But I guess like a lot of and I even in mine, they they block off the small ones in the bottom of the heart that they can't even
right.
that they can't put stents in because they're so small.
Right.
So that's the major problem though, you know,
Well,
because they,
in my experience, not being a doctor, but my experience as an RN, we've always said and always were taught that people who have heart attacks at a young age usually don't survive them because of their blockages, because they don't
yeah,
develop any what they call collateral circulation or blood circulation to the rest of the heart, bypassing the problem areas. They don't have enough time for their heart to do that, you know, to get into 50, 60 years of age. And you surely haven't reached that. So, yeah, probably one of the main arteries that you had being blocked, and they stent that or stented in a couple places, worked for a while, but it didn't work overall. And that's the reason you had to have the
right.
second transplant, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
it that is kind of like a common occurrence. That's going to happen with kidney disease or with with heart disease. That's going to happen. Your everything ages. Everything continues to grow older, and as it continues to grow older, it is less efficient, less effective. And a transplanted heart, having it for that long, you got good mileage out of it.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. Yeah.
So when you when you what kind of medicine load are you on now today at the age of 45 compared, have they changed your medicines, or are you still pretty much on the same immunosuppressive drugs?
Before, I'm just on like a little bit of a different dose.
Okay, I kind of missed that. Say that again. What was the medication?
I'm pretty much on the same medications that I was
Oh,
on
okay.
before. I'm on just maybe the doses are a little higher now.
Yeah. Do you know
But
the
they
name of
might,
the drug that you are on for immunosuppression?
yeah, I'm on tacrolimus
Tacrolimus. Okay.
and, and that formic acid or something like that.
Okay. All right. So those two
Met,
medications,
yeah.
one of them, I think my fortic, or and that's probably the
Yes,
medication.
yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
yeah, that's it.
yeah. Yeah. And those two drugs are standard pretty much. So maintaining those. So in general, how are you feeling now? How are you feeling? You got lots of energy. You doing well?
Yeah, my energy's coming back. I was pretty tired for a while, but it's starting to come back.
Well, you see, that was in October 23. That's not that long ago. That's not even a year
Yeah,
ago.
about six. Yeah, it's about 6 months,
Yeah.
almost seven. But
So
yeah,
it, this is significant. You have it for 20 some years, 20 plus years, your first heart transplant. Now the second one's only been going on for less than a year. You got some work to do
yeah,
yet because you've gotten a little bit older.
right. Yeah, and the second one, I did the first several days were pretty good, and then I got pneumonia in my
Sure.
transplanted lungs.
Sure.
So that really took me down for a while. I had to have the breathing tube put back in right after they took it out. And then I had to have a trach. And so I was in there
Oh
in the
my, yeah.
hospital for like 2 months.
2
So,
months in the hospital.
yeah.
Okay.
And it was mostly because of the pneumonia that I had gotten right after the transplant. But because the heart did very well. But,
It's the lungs that
you know,
had some trouble then.
the lungs had a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think about, you have two different donors, one for your
Right.
lungs and one now the second donor, you know, so you can imagine what your body's trying to figure out, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's saying, oh my goodness, here now we got another passenger on board and we don't know where they come from. So
Right.
when when you think about that, it's just amazing, Jamie, how unique you are, and and special. I'm just amazed at how well you're doing. And you've got, do you see a trainer? Are you working with someone to get your strength levels back up, or physical therapy of some sort?
No, I was going to go to cardiac rehab, but it was right when we were having like really bad flu and COVID was kind of
Yeah, that
going
was,
on
yeah.
in the first part of the year. So I just now kind of went back to the Y like for the last couple, maybe 3 weeks. So I'm just kind of now starting back. So,
Are,
yeah.
in the kidney world where I live, uh, I know that Medicare takes care of a lot of kidney issues, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
but you financially probably got very little, unless you had insurance, very little, if any help financially for these transplants. Is that correct?
Um, I have pretty good insurance. My insurance pretty much paid for my transplant and stuff, but they didn't send me to the doctors wanted me to go to rehab straight, like in-house rehab straight
Right.
after the transplant, but they didn't cover that. So I came home and had like a physical therapist did come to the house
Yeah.
for the first, couple weeks, but that was about it.
Yeah. See that doesn't make much sense to me. How insurance companies operate. We won't get into
Yeah,
that in detail, but here they go. They paid strictly for a transplant, a heart
yeah,
transplant of all things, and then they don't think it's important to cover the rehab. Now
right,
I don't see that thought process is all statistically based. I suspect, well, that it's an issue about money, but my goodness, when we're talking about human life here, and if you're going to invest the money in somebody, you surely want to make sure that they can continue with it. I think, and I'm
right.
sure everybody else kind of agrees with that, except the insurance company. But there ought to be something that can be
Yeah,
done to assist.
yeah.
And you
I
don't
mean,
have the answer,
don't get
neither
me
do I,
wrong,
but
I
we
wanted to
sure.
come home.
Yeah, right. I mean, okay, the answer is just send her home and she'll, let her handle it by herself. Well,
Yeah,
and to me, somewhere in the shape of things, you would think that the hospital, the transplant program, would have a vested interest in keeping you soundly healthy and would find a way to assist you.
yeah, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, and I put you on the spot there, didn't I? Well, I'm sorry, but it bothers me a great deal how we met out in health here in this country. It's gotten to be a big issue, and it's got to come to a head somewhere. But not on you. I'm glad you're where you're at because you're a self starter. Tell by the way you carry yourself, and you want to be well. Gosh, anybody who goes through this has gotten their mind that they want to be well.
Right. Yeah.
And whatever it takes, right? Whatever it takes to get well, better, and function more, live more. That's exactly what you want to do, and you should.
Yeah. Whatever it takes,
Exactly,
I'm willing to
whatever it
do it.
takes.
Yeah. That's why I went back to the why now,
Yeah.
because I know I've always worked out before and I know I have to get back to it. So,
Well, let me
I have to do something.
let me tell you, I have a very, very good friend in Atlanta, Georgia, who's a trainer,
Hmm.
and he has worked with me with kidney patients. I'm going to recommend that he give you a call, if that's okay, and
Hmm.
talk to you about helping you set up a program.
Okay.
And I believe that would help you in a great way because he's very, very knowledgeable. He's a young athlete himself, and his folks have had and his family have had kidney disease, and he really wants to pay back that way. But he would more than be more happy to work with you. I'm sure of it. And he would do it, of course, remotely, but he would help you set up at least a guiding plan on what you should be doing. Okay.
Okay.
Instead of just showing
Yeah.
up and jumping on a bike, you can do that at home. But you need
Right.
to, I would think, some professional help, and he's right where you would want him to be. I think that'd be a good thing.
Okay.
I will make that connection when we're done today. I will give him a call, and then I will introduce you via email. Okay, so you've got his email address, and he's got yours, and you guys can talk.
Okay.
All right. How in the world did you find out about about Kidney Solutions or about these podcasts? You said,
Um,
was it Steve?
yeah, Steve Grabler, I think his name is.
Yeah. Okay.
And then also my friend Kim Jax, I think her name is.
Okay. Kimberly Jacks. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I think
if
they
you
both did
thank him
them.
for me, I, it's a, I don't know if we've done this in any service, but I can tell you, you talking about this at some point in time now, I've got, I think, three multiple transplant patients, and I'm going to get the panel together with you included and the other, I think it's three right now, and we'll have just a general discussion about what it's like to be a multiple transplant patient,
Oh
because
yeah, okay.
it's got to be tremendously emotional and difficult, regardless of how well you feel or don't feel, to navigate through this stuff.
Yeah, yeah. It,
Have you kind of had emotionally and mentally, you've had to work on that area, I'm sure, to maintain your sanity through all this.
yeah, definitely. I feel like I've dealt pretty well, but there's always you have them moments where, you just think, wow, you know, I just I can't believe this has happened, or, I just
You have a,
I can't believe going through this, or nobody understands, or, it's
oh yeah,
just,
there's nobody. No, trust me, they don't get transplant. Everybody says, "Oh, that's great. You're saved and cured." Well, you're not.
yeah,
You still got to live
exactly.
with
You're
it.
not,
Yeah,
yeah,
you're not cured.
you're not cured. It's just um, it's another, I don't know, I don't even know how to explain it. You're
It's a way
trading
that God
something for,
entitles you to time here to do His work.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
But you still go through. He maintains the process for you. He's always there. But in your mind, you wonder why you're still here. I know you do, because I have it
Yeah.
the same feeling. I wonder at times why me, Lord? What was it that you've seen in me? And I've just decided that I'm just going to continue doing what I'm doing.
Hmm.
And I recommend that you do that. And we need to I want you to stay really close to me now, calling and keeping in track of me, because we can help. I want to be your mentor. I want to work with you. I don't want, and help you in any way we can. I wished we had all the money in the world, like some people do, to where we could assist financially. Maybe someday we'll get there. But right
Yeah,
now, I want you
maybe.
to know you have a friend at Kitty Solutions. Total friend.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. There's one thing that's still great. I've just got to ask. What is it that you do to maintain your sanity? In other words, to stay level, stay keel, stay in your own lane, whatever vernacular you want to use. But what is it that you do personally to not get totally depressed and just completely give up?
I don't know. I have my pets and I don't know.
You have pets? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And do you have relationships with other folks that, do you have other people uh, in the transplant world, or, surely the Quarter Century Club, you could make some friends there too, right?
Yeah, I have transplant friends, and my mother was with me the whole time, and
Oh gosh, yeah.
yeah, and my fiance was there, and my dad came, you know, like every other day, and so yeah.
Are they still in your life?
Oh yeah, they're all still, yeah.
Good. That makes me feel a lot better. Because I'm out to save the world. You knew that, right?
Yeah.
I'm not, but I think I am. it it just amazes me that the way things have gone in the medical community now, how much advancing we've done in transplant. And to be able to have a double lung and a heart transplant and then have another heart transplant, I can't reconcile it in my brain. I can't get my arms around it. And I can imagine you can't either.
I know it still shocks me, like when I really sit down and think about it, I'm just like, you know, wow.
Wow, exactly. And I know you pray a lot. I know that's in your heart.
Yes.
I know
Yes.
that, and know some people think, well, I don't want to say much about that. Well, I think you're joyous in the fact that you're living within the Lord's confines. And I guarantee you that that's where your strength is coming from.
Yeah.
So you can
True.
shout it out.
Yep.
I have really enjoyed this, Jamie. Is there anything that you would like to say? Anything that you would like to just mention or expound on? Is there anything at all?
Well, I definitely want to thank both of my donor families, and I want to thank my parents and my fiance for sticking with me, obviously, and God for, being with me. But I guess other than that, I'm good.
You're overwhelmed and underwhelmed at the same time.
I am. Yes.
Okay, I understand. I can say that. A lot of people say they do, but they don't. Because transplant patients, they're a different breed. And you are a breed on your own. But I'm so glad to hear that you have somebody close to you, and that makes it a whole lot better for you. And I think it's going to be okay. I really do. I believe and I'm going to pray that God gives you the strength to continue on. And if there's anything that we can do for you at Kidney Solutions, we're happy to do it. You may think,
Okay.
well, maybe let me just give Kent a call. I have several people that I know that have had transplants, heart transplants, willing to make that connection with you. And I think that web of people would be beneficial to you mentally, physically, and emotionally. Okay.
Okay.
And again, I will get a hold of Miles and we'll have a discussion, and I'm going to have him talk to you point blank and see what it's possible for him to do. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So
Yeah.
I think this has been a wonderful talk. And I got a feeling we're going to come back and we're going to talk again. And I look forward to that.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Okay, everybody. We're going to wrap this up with Jamie Stroup. Jamie needs your prayers. Let's just put it that way. And if you're listening to this podcast, which I hope you do, I would hope that you would subscribe to it and like it and make comments. Anything that we can do to improve this improves the value of patients' lives and people's lives. That's what we're all about here. Just make sure that you do that for me if you listen to this podcast, and then share it. This is a great story. This is a great person. And by sharing it, you may be helping somebody that you don't even realize you're going to help. So get it out there. And in the meantime, through all of this living and the journeys that you're on, make sure that you keep breathing.